So yeah, I'm glad to be here. I wish we could be in New York like last year. That was a lot of fun, but here we are in this virtual world. I was able to mess around with it this weekend. Hold, I'm sharing the wrong screen. You don't see my. Don't see my slides. Okay, so you can. All right. All right, well, for some reason I'm not able to open it. Anyway, so I'm Adam Hengels. I'm the co-founder of Parafin. Can't do anything. All right, I can't even change the slides. Oh, so I'll just do the talking. Yeah, I'm Adam Hengels. I'm the co-founder of Parafin. My background is in real estate development. I spent over a decade working on major projects. A big portion of that in New York on the Barclays Center and what was called the Atlantic Yards project for Forest City Ratner companies. And one of the biggest pain about being a real estate developer is that it's critical to find new projects to develop, and it's really time-consuming, expensive, and risky to identify projects for a development pipeline. So what's interesting, and you may not know unless you're in development, but the average developer that we've talked to looks at 31 development opportunities for every one that they actually break ground on. And for each of these projects, you have to spend a lot of time and money with architects, and you spend a lot of time building financial models and evaluating the opportunity. So I'll walk you quickly through kind of the genesis of Parafin, and it's actually happened on a project that I was looking at in the West Loop of Chicago when I was pursuing multifamily development on my own. So I had a site in the West Loop of Chicago had come to market. And it was a type of site that I liked. It's an awkward shape with good zoning and a great location. And so I did some back of the envelope calculations in Excel and determined that this was an opportunity worth pursuing. And so the next step would be to identify the architect. So I called up my favorite architect and said, hey, this is an interesting project. Can we start to look at this? And architect said, well, I can look at this. We're really swamped this week, but can we take a look next week? I said, okay, well, we can do that. Next week came, and a few weeks went by with the same story, and I couldn't keep on waiting. The broker had been hounding me about getting an offer in. So I didn't want to go to the big firm who was eager to work with me because I knew they were going to work slowly. I called a third architect who was already looking at that particular site and saw it as a conflict of interest. I decided to call up my future co-founder, Brian, and who I knew could possibly quickly work on it with me. We had worked together at a previous startup, me as the developer, him as the architect. And so Brian was happy to jump in and work on it. But Brian's an interesting type of architect because he has a strong background in computational design, where he had co-founded the computational design startup at HKS Architects. So when Brian started coming up with designs, he used parametric modeling tools so that he was spitting out changes in the designs, rapidly every few hours, giving me new designs to evaluate. And each time he would do that, I would have to run and go build a new financial model and give Brian my feedback. So we decided, I told Brian, either you need to stop making changes or you need to learn how to do these financial models yourself. But a lot of the insights into Parafin came from those early struggles. Eventually, I did get an offer in on that site. However, there was another offer on the table, and I ended up not winning that deal. So Brian and I started working more together and realized that a lot of the techniques that he had been using could be integrated with the tools that I would like to have to automate the early development feasibility analysis on new projects. So vision was what one took weeks or months, we could do in minutes. So we built a prototype, and everything went from there. So let me give you a quick demonstration of the software as it is. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. So I'm logging into Parafin right now. So logged in. This first version of Parafin for hotel development projects was built in partnership with Marriott Hotels. And the design standards for the Marriott Courtyard brand is preloaded in the software. And what you'll see is in 4 quick steps, we'll have a project up and running with the Courtyard brand standards preloaded into the design. So we'll start a new project. We'll just give that project a name, address. This is actually a project that one of our customers is building a courtyard on right now. It's in Anchorage, Alaska. So we identify the parcels. There's other ways of identifying the site, such as using drawing tools, but right now we have parcels preloaded into the software. So you just select the parcels that are involved with the project and move on. So next we want to let Parafin know which sides of the site have street frontage and if there are any setbacks required by zoning. I'm just quickly going to give it some frontage and setbacks. Next, we'll choose the hotel brand that we'd like to build on this particular site. In this case, we'll go with Courtyard. We have several more Marriott brands in the pipeline, and Parafin's off and running. So what's happening right now is that Parafin is generating thousands upon thousands of designs that work on this site that are compliant with the Courtyard design standards. It takes about 20 seconds for it to run. While it's running, you can adjust some of your assumptions. We'll just go with a simple ADR and occupancy assumptions. So as I was talking, Parafin finished up. So what we have here is basically 3 panels. On the left are the designs that have been generated, and for each of those designs there is a budget, development budget, and financial model. So we can sort these according to their investment performance or other metrics. Right now we're sorting according to yield on cost. We could look at, say, an equity multiple, and they'll be sorted accordingly. We can look at any one of these design concepts, and in the middle panel we'll see the tables, basically an executive summary for this project. So we'll see the program, development budget, the revenue and investment returns. And on the right side, here's the design information. We actually have an actual design that's been generated. If we choose another one of these concepts, let's go to something vastly different. Got 4-story versions. So as we'll see, these are, lower, longer 4-story versions of it. So the developer is going to choose a few of the building program limits here. If they know they have a target mix of king and queen rooms that can be filtered accordingly, as well as different parking ratios. If we know that our staff, another 3 parking spots that can be added. This is Anchorage, so we're not going to put an outdoor pool, but we can put an extended meeting room here, and our designs will change accordingly. Then the developer is going to put in their revenue assumptions for the guest rooms, non-guest room spaces, as well as their budget assumptions. So we've got the land cost, hard costs, soft costs, and the FF&E costs. And finally, we have the investment assumptions that the developer will put in here. So all of this information goes feed the financial assumptions. So let's just change something simple, the land acquisition costs. So we notice the land cost in our budget. So we'll see the budget and investment model has adjusted for each of these designs generated. So jumping back over to the design, here we have an aerial view as well as a perspective, and then floor plans for each of these designs. But as you see, there's quite a lot of detail in these floor plans, and a big reason for that is Brian came up with a new technique where he's basically taught our algorithms how to design a courtyard building, but it does that actually in Revit. So there's quite a bit of detail for each of these designs. We'll also have floor plans for the guest room floors. But now, since each of these designs have been generated in Revit, developer could download these Revit files, hand them off to their architect, and save their architect at least a week's worth of time building these Revit files from scratch. There's also the capability of downloading a PDF report or the financial model in Excel. So going back to presentation that isn't working on my computer. Presentation is showing, the actual Revit file itself, which is pretty exciting. If you contact me, I'll be happy to give you a live demo of the of some of the other aspects. But so right now, Parafin is for hotel developers. We partnered with Marriott, and we currently have an invite-only program for developers who are developing courtyard hotels. We're loading more brands released in the near future, and we're beginning to work on a multi-family version of software. Really, Parafin's the world's only generative design platform that's used by developers to quickly understand what they can build on a site and will it make money, and they can do it right in the cloud using the Parafin software. And if you're a developer who builds hotels or multifamily residential, I'd be glad to talk with you. The last slide had my contact information, but reach me at adam@parafin3d.com. You can go to the website parafin3d.com, and we'd be glad to set up a time to talk with you.